Lions fans, you did it. You go into the NFC Conference Championships, and now you get to face the best NFC team in the league this year, going out to San Francisco 49ers. Brian and I, we are going to break down the Detroit Lions versus Niners NFC Championship game. But before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. We have a bunch of mock drafts coming out leading up to the NFL draft, including 3-round and 7-round mock drafts for both the Lions and 49ers. So be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And Ryan, let's get into this game here. Detroit Lions ended up beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a fun game. I dominated is not the right word, I would say, but I felt like they were in control of the game for a vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
You know, there was only just a couple of kind of moments where the Buccaneers started to creep back in. But in general, though,
it was 10-10 at halftime, and the Bucs. That was because the Bucs had a good late second quarter drive that got them close. And then I believe it was a big play that got them to 17 as well.
I'll go back and double check here.
Sorry, but largely I agree with you. I do think the Lions dominated that game. It was 31-24, but the Lions gave up a late touchdown as well to
31-23, should be 24 depending on your philosophy of going for two there, which I get. I don't really care, but the just that was kind of how the Bucs season had gone. I felt like they would just kind of stall, but then they would just go and have these explosive drives, like the drive before half, as you're talking about, 2 great plays and throws on from Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans to get them on the board. But in general, though, the Lions never trailed throughout the entire time. Just felt like it was kind of destiny. Just get going there. It's fun to see see the fan base have such a just kind of great moment. Everything that they've been through, they deserve it. And so going up, though, against the Niners team, who is one of the most, I would say, franchise with one of the most accolades, I would say, in the game. So it'll be very interesting to see. And they did not particularly play that well against the Packers on Saturday night. But that being said, though, I was thinking about it. The Packers probably coming into the playoffs were probably the best NFC team. I know their record was 9-8, but if you go look at the body of work and overall how they were playing and how well the defense have been playing over the past 6 weeks, like they were playing, I think, the best football of anybody in the NFC at that time. And they were just
I don't know
young.
if I would say the best. I would say up there. They were one of the best, playing like one of the best.
I'll say now, the Niners should have lost on Saturday night.
Yeah,
they should have lost. Yeah. The Packers should have put up 38-plus points on them, but their first 3 drives all went to the red zone, only got 6 points out of it. Then a couple of just unfortunate turnovers, and then just kind of what happened in the fourth quarter, just couldn't find a stop on this defense. And I would say one of the issues of the Packers team was like their secondary was probably a little bit inexperienced. Front 7 was gassed, and then they just handed the ball off to Christian McCaffrey and kept running. But in general, in my opinion, I didn't think the Niners played that well. But to be also, if you're a glass half full kind of guy, that means that there's still a lot more room for improvement for the Niners. And I would say they're going to have to play really well this Sunday. The Lions, I think, are going to be coming in top notch. I thought that they also had room for improvement. But they're still playing some of the top football. They're getting the best out of everybody. And they're particularly healthy, I would say. I know they had some offensive line injuries overall, but like who was it? Who is their guard?
Jonah Jackson.
Yeah.
So Dan Campbell said it doesn't look really good for next week for Jonah Jackson. I do think they have decent offensive line depth. But yeah, I think overall that they're relatively healthy. CJ Gardner-Johnson got healthy at the right time of the year. Sam Laporta is playing through a sprained MCL, which is just, I mean, honestly, incredible toughness there.
Honestly, you wouldn't even know it if you saw play. So he's playing phenomenal.
And like, they're just they're a monstrous team. Penei Sewell had a fantastic game yesterday, and I really like this Lions team right now. I think they're clicking, and I think, like you said, they still have room for improvement. And so it'll be interesting seeing what they're able to throw at the at the 49ers here.
So I will say what's scary, and if you just go and look at everything, I will say like where do the Niners rank overall? Like I know the Niners are ranked third in overall run defense. Aaron Jones did put up over 100 yards rushing on them, and his longest he did have a 53-yard run. So I guess take that with a grain of salt. Still, as a team though, they put up 136. And that's the Lions' bread and butter. The Lions' bread and butter is running through David Montgomery. Then now they have Jahmyr Gibbs also, who has had a full season. He's not,
and they do a
anymore.
great job of getting Jahmyr Gibbs in space and allowing him to create with not a numbers mismatch, but like with favorable numbers. And 49ers are going to have to do their due diligence there. So
well, and at the same time though, too, I think if there is a weakness on this Lions team, it's going to be in this line. I don't want to say linebacker, so to say, because they still have some solid linebackers, but that back part of the defense kind of going into the secondary, they can give up a decent bit of yards. So I had to say, that's just going to be, I think the key to the game is who can avoid the big play, who can avoid giving up the big play here, because we all know how a Kyle Shanahan dynamic offense can just all of a sudden just get rhythm and just explosive play after explosive play. We'll have to double check on Deebo Samuel, make sure that he is going to be healthy for this game. I believe he is. We were talking about it before. If it's the shoulder injury, I would be shocked if he doesn't try and fight through or at least suit up and play. But then at the same time, though, too, the Niners honestly just got worked by Matt LaFleur in that offense. Ben Johnson is having one of the best offenses that we've seen in a long time, one of the best offenses this year. He's certainly going to be going on to a head coaching job as well. It's going to be no joke for the Niners defense as well, even though they are still one of the top defenses in the league.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into our predictions here. Before we do that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. And Tyler, I'm going to throw it over to you. Who do you have coming out ahead in this matchup?
It's going to be such a fun day. I mean, with the Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson matchup, and then now we have the Lions dream run, and then we still have Brock Purdy in this San Francisco 49ers offense, which is always just fun. To be honest, the Niners had been thought of as probably one of the best teams for the entire season. They checked off the Cowboys, then they checked off the Eagles, and then they didn't check off the Ravens, but potentially they can have a rematch here in the Super Bowl if they get their wish. And I think that's still going to be a great matchup. And I think they were definitely looking for some redemption. It's probably, if you're a smart guy, you would go with the Niners here at home, number one team. I am not a smart guy. I picked the Lions to make the Super Bowl preseason. I also had them going up against an AFC North team. It won't be Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but I do believe it will be Lamar Jackson. So I'll kind of count that as a win-win. But I think this is just the Lions season. I will say, obviously, you can tell I'm a Falcons fan. I don't know what it is. I just kind of have a very similar feeling to the type of season that we were having in 2016, where there's just that vibe, that momentum, everything seems to be clicking. I think the Lions have something similar here as well. I think that they are going to go on and upset the Niners here and go into the Super Bowl, play against the first Super Bowl. And also, too, if it would be really funky if this very similar to the Falcons 2016 season, then they would actually end up potentially playing Patrick Mahomes, who would then is also considered, I would say, the GOAT or one of the GOATs. So it would be very spooky as well to kind of have that similar type vibe season going on. So I think the Lions are going to win this one here. That's who I'm going to be rooting for. But also, too, if the Niners win, I know that they're going to be deserve it just as much.
Yeah. I guess we are definitely brothers, because I think the 49ers are probably going to win, but I want the Lions to win, so I'm going to pick the Lions. Just because I think like Kyle Shanahan has kind of been there, done that. He's had his opportunities to get a Super Bowl, and like I just kind of want to see somebody new up there. I do think the Lions will pose a good threat, and it'll be a really close game. But I'm going to go with the Lions as well, just because I want to see them pull it out. Like I just think that would be awesome for the city of Detroit to be the NFC champions. And even if they go to the Super Bowl and don't win, this season would be enormous success for the organization in the city.
And that's one, and I know I brought up 2016 and we all know how it ended. But I think one thing that I've started to remember, though, kind of reliving this for the Lions, or like through the Lions, but was how fun this buildup has been. Just like actually seeing this, like the success, like holy cow, this team looks great. Like every game looks phenomenal. The team looks fluid, unlike how I would say the past 5 years of being a Falcons fan is. And so it is. Really enjoy this time. Like this has just been super fun to see. Even the players, like seeing Aiden Hutchinson, who grew up in Michigan, went to go play at Michigan, and just almost kind of like being a loss for words, and like not like he's going and celebrating with teammates, but he makes sure to have that moment and like looks at the stands like, holy cow. Like,
yeah, he
literally hasn't seen this his entire life. Now, a lot of people haven't seen this type of environment in Detroit their entire lives, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a really special run. And it's a lot of fun to watch. I think everybody's kind of rooting for it. I think everybody outside of the state of California is rooting for the Lions on this side.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Detroit Lions? Is it going to be the San Francisco 49ers? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.